JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
JS.
Two weeks in, it's been some relatively big tracks with a 2.5 mile and a 500-mile race in Florida. Then we moved on to the West Coast, the extreme West Coast, and a track that didn't exist anymore at Auto Club. But this week, it's time to move to the Mojave, the south central part of Arizona, as we get set for Phoenix Raceway, live here, Saturday Night Racing League, presented by M&J Distributors. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Connor Horn. There's all the action here, flag to flag all season. But Connor, this is actually the test now. This is where the real racing starts. Last 2 weeks, yeah, anybody could probably get a win. This one's going to be a test.
This will definitely be the biggest test of the season so far. Daytona's Daytona. We know what to expect there. We expect chaos and Auto Club. We only have 3 winners now in 6 races all time at Auto Club. So you know Jeff Wright, Bailey Turner, we knew they were going to be at the front one way or another by the end of that one. Phoenix, completely different story. A staple of the real life schedule. NASCAR goes here twice a year in the spring and in the fall. Saturday Night Racing League, we've only been here once, and we haven't been here since season 2. It's been almost a year and a half on the calendar since we've been here, and it was in this car. Chad Klinger, the only driver to have a victory here at this 1 mile racetrack. 8 to 11 degrees of banking. I believe it'll be 8-1 and 2 and 11 and 3 and 4, and that dog leg is, I believe, maybe close to 3 degrees, somewhere around there. We're going to see drivers cutting that dog leg pretty much all race, especially on the restarts. For a track that opened over 60 years ago, it's gone through a ton of changes.
Yeah, tons of reconfigurations, most of those happening within the last decade, and I like the changes. Took me a little while to get used to it, but I like that, there's a lot of passing opportunity in that dog leg. If you get a good run off of 3 and 4, you can absolutely take it down to the inside, and if you don't at least cut before that blue cone on the exit of pit road one time in this race, you're not trying.
I would say so. It's going to be really fun seeing every driver cut that dog leg, and we'll see if prior experience here prevails. Not many drivers, there might be some drivers in this field who haven't ran at this track in this series. Andrew Telganoff's still the points leader after a crazy finish at Auto Club last week. Bailey Turner kind of stole the victory there. Caleb Weekly got, I believe, second out of it. He's third in points to start the season. Jeff Wright, trying to become a 3-time champion, did get up to 12th in points after a bad race at Daytona. But this is one of those tracks, one of those races that should really sort out the points order, maybe a little bit more.
Telganoff not on the racetrack this week. Some unforeseen circumstances is going to put him off on a little vacation. But as we look at the points, it's still tight. You got a lot of ties here for position. You got a tie there between Dakota Floyd, AJ Stravado, a tie there for 5th with Seth Hatchell and Kenny Kibbe, a tie back in 11th with Mahalski and Wright. So all the way through this field, it's very tight. 1 or 2, hiccups, or maybe a driver that's, back in 20th position like Philip Brewer, which I have great news for you when we get to the grid, could find his way up towards the front. But with that, it's time to take you trackside and get that grid up on the screen, starting on the top spot here this evening. With a 27.423, it will be Philip Brewer from the 20th position in points to the top of the pole. AJ Stravado in the number 33 will start to his outside. Ryan Carwile and Dakota Floyd will be row number 2, and then you have Justin Ritchie with J.R. Shepard, 5th and 6th spot. Row number 4 will belong to Jeff Wright with Chuck Sweeting in 8th. Rounding out your top 10, Joseph McWhorter back out on the racetrack, and there's the 17 of Adam Cabot.
Abbott back on the track this week. And Nathan Parada, Charlotte winner last season, starts 11th. Bailey Turner, last week's winner, season 4 Series champion, 12th. Ray Massey, who was in a late crash last week, starts 13th. James Lehman, also in a late crash last week, from the top 5, starts 14th. Max Koss started 15th at 0 VSPEED Reese's Mustang. He's got all the sponsors. 16th is Caleb Weekly, a great runner-up finish last week. Eldon Stort's back, another Supra starting 17th. Seth Hatchell back, another driver who crashed last week. We saw a lot of crashes last week. He starts 18th. Noah Mahalski, another Mustang, starting 19th. And Brandon Wallace rounds out the top 20 as we get the 1 to go.
And a lot of those crashes happening in the second half of that race. Angelo Horonis and Joshua Banks, 21st, 22nd. Then you go back to row 12 with Elliott Butler, Kenny Kibbe in the 14th. 14 car, 24th position. We'll see him gain some spots. John Sanu, Broderick Lavick with 10 more cars to talk about. We go back to 26 with Casey Laconis, Michael Jones, Ben Lapter, Stephen Davis. Brian Chambliss electing not to take a time with Tim Shanoski, Matt Shanoski, Christopher Hodges deep in this field. Then you have Brian Dane and Austin Belkey rounding out your field here this evening.
I just realized the Shanoskis run different manufacturers. How about that?
So a little change up here for the 01, but week number 3, it's still young in the season. Number 6, let's say we start this off right. 44, Philip Brewer looking to capitalize from the pole. Live and racing at Phoenix. already coming off the turns 1 and 2. Adam Cabot in the middle.
Cabot in the middle. Stravato gets the lead from that top side. That's one thing about turns 1 and 2. That outside lane can work wonders. Get a great run down the back straightaway up there, and Stravato used it to lead that first lap and take the lead away.
McWhorter aggressively down on the inside driver. That's Carlisle in the 71. But they're staying 3 wide. A lot of 3 wide all the way around this place. We ran 2 laps now. It's starting to single file out a little bit.
That's what we just saw in the real world O'Reilly Series race that just ended. I mean, you're going to see 3-4 wide for multiple laps before they get this sorted out, because every time they do sort it out to 3 and 4, they all spread out when they get to this dog leg once again. You're going to see all of them fan out, take that dog leg. Some drivers will elect not to cut it for as long, but those drivers on the inside, you almost have no choice but to do it. Try to get away from that side draft.
33 of AJ Stravato took the lead from the 44 of Brewer. Brewer was able to lead 1 lap before that happened. Brewer going the wrong direction here for a little bit.
Yeah, really good fast lap in qualifying. Was able to get that pole, but wasn't able to get a good enough launch to get away from Stravato. And when you have someone to your outside in turns 1 and 2 here, it's so hard to get the car rotated to keep that lead on the bottom of the racetrack. That's why Stravato was able to carry all that speed. And you can see right there as McWhorter carried a lot of speed out of turn 2. He entered high, exited low, got a great run on Stravato. His third three actually kind of wiggled at it too, but it's so hard to make ground up on that bottom line when you're to the inside of someone.
Race analysis on the bottom left of your screen. 45 miles per hour on the pit road speed limit. 156 laps here this evening. Avondale, Arizona, as we have a battle for the lead on your screen. 5 tire sets, 4 behind the pit wall. There's a look to the outside from Joseph McWhorter for the top spot.
It's only 4 tire sets. You can run at them pretty quickly here because Phoenix is kind of a sneaky track for tire wear, and you've seen that outside lane working wonders right now. Stravato just trying to keep the tires on it, I think, running to the bottom once he got the lead, but McWhorter just so much faster in that middle to high line. He's able to easily take that lead away.
So, change for the lead. It will be our second one of the evening. McWhorter to the top spot in the 73. Needs this race to go good, but he's having a little bit of a connection issue, and I hope that doesn't become a factor later on. Jeff Wright making a pass for third. Top 10 flipping on its head here. Some drivers that started up ahead of this, like Philip Brewer, like Ryan Carlisle, Justin Ritchie, starting to lose some spots.
And we'll get to a point where maybe 20 to 30 laps in, you'll start to see the drivers who kept the tires on it starting to get through the field. The drivers who couldn't start to fade through the field like we see at pretty much every race at every track in this series. So far, Philip Brewer, maybe he's saving the tires, trying to conserve them while dropping some spots, but you better get those spots back or else it's going to be all for nothing. Otherwise, he's going to be a matter of just not having good pace right now. Mid to long run, just got 1 good lap in possibly, but we'll have to wait and see as Cabot's trying to get that 4th spot away from the 44. Pretty tight on the door out of turn number 2, but not able to do anything. They almost hit there as Carlisle trying to see which lane goes so he can make a decision.
Having a little bit of technical difficulties. For some reason, cameras won't adjust, so I'm going to keep working on that while we watch this battle for the 5th spot. Ryan Carlisle kind of got the door closed on him there. Does get around the 44. Brewer continuing to hemorrhage some spots. And you have Nathan Ferrata, who's stayed in 11th. Chuck Sweeting down 4, Bailey Turner up 2, so kind of a flip on the script here.
And Turner's going to get through the field short run. We know he's got pretty decent short run pace in every car. It's just the tire saving that's maybe troublesome for him in any car that isn't the next gen. Not too much movement throughout the field. Really haven't seen anyone start in the back and climb way through the field. See Brendan Wallace lose about 8 spots. Justin Ritchie tapped the wall. Almost looks like Chuck Sweeting tapped the wall as well. It's going to give James Lehman a shot to get that 12th position away.
And Lehman has shown speed almost everywhere we've went. Can he put it together here for a podium finish, though? That's the real question. Ferrata battling for 10th here on the outside of Bailey Turner.
iRacing came out with a tire update that did not wear the tires out. I think James Lehman would be winning a lot of races, because it's just every track the tires start wearing out is when he starts to fade. And usually he qualifies up front and then kind of fades, but this time didn't really qualify that great, as having a little bit of issues there. But Lehman didn't qualify as great, but he is up to 12.
That was my camera stick working again. Sometimes you got to unplug it. Didn't want to, but sometimes that's what you got to do. Let's see if it works now. Hey, look at that.
Got a real good look at J.R. Shepard losing that spot, Ferrata gaining that spot. That's for that 9th spot. So Ferrata, one of the few drivers still left on the outside lane. Almost everyone else, as you can see on the onboard, almost everyone else is running the bottom 3 and 4. Ferrata's a lonely man up there.
Seemed to work for McWhorter, so if you can make that high line run, definitely get a better exit.
And you are seeing almost everyone in 1 and 2 kind of venturing up there. McWhorter's still kind of running high on entry, but kind of bringing it down on exit, which you would think was going to put a lot of stress on that right front tire near the end of a fuel run. But we'll see if that ends up working out for him. I mean, clean air is going to help the tire wear no matter who you are. But, you know, doing a diamond sort of corner in 1 and 2, it's probably the fastest way to get around the track is you get a great run down that back straightaway, but definitely puts a strain on the tires. You'll see him enter high and then bring it down, slow it down center corner, and exit low. Great run off the corner. I just worry about the tires.
"14 laps, clean and green. So far, so good. For most of these drivers, change for position. 15th up for grabs. Caleb Weekly gonna fight on the outside of Noah Mahalski.
Weekly's hoping for another stroke of luck. Took the tires last week, had to fight through some yellows, but ends up getting runner-up to Bailey Turner on the same exact strategy. Worked out beautifully for Weekly. Pretty much running where they started 16th, running 15th, just trying to get another solid finish and stay in that chase spot for as long as possible.
Got to talk with Caleb Weekly at the beginning of the race. Opportunity to take the points lead, but you know, you got the 24, 4 spots ahead of you right now. You can either go chase him down or hope that he has a bad day, but if I know anything, Bailey Turner, it's rare.
And it's rare he has a bad day. Had it not been for that first yellow coming out, it might not have been a great day for him. Definitely luck was on his side. Got his 3rd win at Auto Club, high in the points because of that. Another driver who had a poor race at Daytona. Fortunately, a lot of drivers wrecked at Daytona and Auto Club. Turner, obviously not one of those, so he's actually in a decent points position, but talked to him last week, doesn't really care for the car that much. Maybe that changes with the aero updates we get this coming week, so maybe Las Vegas will be different for Turner and maybe for others, but for now, still trying to figure out this car as Lehman got into the back of him and he's going to crash.
Hard hit to the inside wall will stay green, but the hood flies up on the 05. He can't see where he's going.
And that was Turner hitting the wall, and Lehman just could not check up for him, but certainly I think the left front suspension got broken from that hit. His race definitely over. You saw Turner hit the wall, that stunted momentum. Lehman just couldn't check up for it and almost corrected it, but turned it back to the left and hit that inside wall hard.
And we'll give an onboard view. I mean, a great job here by Lehman to keep it off the racetrack. He cannot see where he's going.
Yeah, if that is what he sees, I don't know how he's able to keep it out of the wall. He's still got to make it back to pit lane, I suppose, but it looks like he's going to be able to. But nothing he could do there. Turner hit the wall. He had no clue to know. He had no way to know that Turner was going to hit the wall and stop suddenly, and nothing he could do.
The top 10 very much up for grabs. You go deeper into this field. Broderick Vaclavic, 26th position. Going to lose a spot here to the 22, and Michael Jones been lapped on the inside in the 64, also going on offense. And I would expect Ben Lafter to get up here towards the top 10 by the end of this race. This is an unusual qualifying back in 29th.
I gotta say, even with how fast Lehman's been, just to go back to Lehman, it's been really a horrible start to the season. 2 races, he's gained 5 points. He ran really well at Daytona, ran even better at Auto Club, and he didn't even really get a chance today. It's still probably going to be single digits in points. Came in tonight lowest in points of the drivers that have ran every race, and unfortunately it's going to stay the same. Really nothing he could do. Really tough to see that happen to him.
And it was a lot of qualifying efforts that I think were botched or just not attempted. Christopher Hodges, another one of those drivers that I think can get up in the top 15, but starting all the way back in 34th, a long way to go. going to bounce the wall here in the number 15, but Hodges has a long, bumpy road ahead of him. Racing side by side with Tim Shimnosky right now in the 07. Hodges falling back slowly to where he started.
Really, even with how tight of a racetrack this is, it does oddly get spread out a lot of the time once you get past that restart. I mean, this is the battle for 30th position. It's happening maybe 11, 12 seconds behind the race leader. So, I mean, we're going to see lap traffic become a factor at some point in this race with how different the times are. Just a matter of who's going to get up there to lap those cars. McWhorter still has the lead, but not quite pulling away, and Jeff Wright showing some pace here.
Showing 3 wide there for a moment. McWhorter way up the racetrack on the entry of 1 and 2. He blinks out again. Another connection issue. Jeff Wright misjudges the exit. Cabot follows him up there, and 2 cars into the wall. Going to stay to the outside of the 33. Servano still struggling to get clear of Jeff Wright. Somehow, Jeff Wright's going to have the momentum into 3 and 4 and will get by.
Well, if he didn't bend the suspension, I think he's going to be okay, but just seems like everyone's struggling with tight out of turn number 2. We saw Turner hit the wall. It cost James Lehman his race, and Jeff Wright right there just completely misjudged the exit. Nose of these cars really pushing wide, and when one driver does it, you're going to have a ton do it, and we saw it right there. Adam Cabot did the same exact thing, and these are not the only drivers that have done that already.
Spread out on the field. Joseph McWhorter has now led 20 laps here this evening. And actually only labeled as 1 lead change. That tells me that the 44, Philip Brewer, didn't lead that first lap. I thought he got it, but AJ Servano took it away from him.
Nope, Servano got him at a turn number 2 on that higher line. So Brewer, he has settled in the 5th, but not able to lead that first lap. Just with it being on the green flag on the initial start, it does seem like it's a theme that driver does not lead the first lap because they pick on the inside, and usually the outside line, if you're side by side, you're just going to get that run out of the corner. You know, you do have the option, I believe, to pick the outside line on the initial start, but I don't think anyone really thinks to do it. And it usually cost him a lap lead to start the race, as looks like Stravato got in the wall a little bit in behind Cabot, so Stravato's actually starting to fade. We saw him and McWhorter were really the guys battling for the win before that first caution jumbled things up, and Stravato not quite looking as strong right now.
Top 3 have split off from Stravato, about half a second there. And you go back another additional half second to Philip Brewer, who's starting to come back to it. I think maybe a little conservative on the tires, you know, 100% fuel. No reason to push this car, and we went green for 27 laps. Maybe Brewer has something in the back pocket for the other half of this run.
We'll just have to wait and see. He's had races where he does have great long run pace. Could be another one brewing today. No pun intended, as soon as we say that, yellow is out, and it is, I believe, Angelo Horonis who spun.
Angelo Horonis, I thought I saw Max Cost dipping positions there. Maybe had to check up. Doesn't look like any damage on this number 29 Ford Mustang. Let's see if we can go back and replay.
One thing about automatic yellows at newer tracks is that it doesn't matter where you slide, the yellow's going to fade. And I believe Horonis basically saved it, but he was sideways enough the yellow came out, battling with Eldon Stewart for about 18th. And what happens here? Drifts up, hits him, and looked like he checked up. Looked like Horonis checked up, and Kibbe didn't check up in time, but a good save.
And Kibbe got a little bit of front-end damage out of this, if we watch here.
Should bring everyone to pit road for their first set of tires. Yeah, I think the 29 really checked up, and Kibbe wasn't expecting it, ran the back of him. Banks almost did the same thing, so I think Horonis got away with it, really with no damage, but Kenny Kibbe is actually going to have a decent bit of front-end damage to repair, and everyone's going to take 4 tires here.
Outlier Speedco on the 73 machine into his pit box. McWhorter started a little bit further back here. Gained a lot of positions really quickly. This helps him if he used up his tires at all to get there. Now he's going to be on an equal set. He's shown he has the pace.
Stravato's going to fall back, missed his pit stall. It's going to be Jeff Wright looking to get out of pit road first. Joseph McWhorter completely just going to sit on pit road, so he's going to fall all the way to the back for whatever reason.
I don't know if he got a speeding penalty. I didn't see anything.
Very weird. Maybe damage?
Maybe connection.
I
I
don't
know
know.
he's been blinking. Maybe the race control gave him a warning and then it didn't clear up. I'm not sure. I don't have any other explanation here.
I saw him blink on pit road. It's almost like he did have a speeding penalty, but I don't think you get hold for speeding under yellow. So you'd go to just to get an EOL. So. Or unless he just sat in his stall to speed after speeding.
I know in official iRacing lobbies they have the race control will give you a black flag for connection. I don't know if that can be activated in a hosted series or in a hosted lobby. I don't know if that's a feature. I don't know. I didn't see speeding, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's not even just, like a manual race control. It's just if your connection's that bad, it'll put you to pit road. But his wasn't as bad to the point it would have done that. Only thing I could think of is that he sped on entry and then just sat in his stall because he knew he was going to get an EOL anyways. So either way, one of the fastest cars in the field, he's going to have to come all the way from about 29th. That is AJ Stravato. So Stravato clearly might have had a penalty there as well. I just know I saw him miss his stall. But yeah, he did speed as well, so probably 2 speeding penalties there and a new leader in Jeff Wright.
Ready to get back underway into the restart zone. And Jeff Wright going to lead him into turn 1 for the first time today.
So 2 drivers top 5 end up speeding and gives Jeff Wright control of the race.
We got side by side with Ferrata.
Oh, Brewer hit the wall.
55 of Richie had to take evasive action there.
Oh, Ferrata! Whoa, what a save! Wow, he got sideways out of turn 4 and he held on to it. He's going to lose a bunch of spots, but he kept the car in one piece. Oh my gosh. What happens when you get a wadded up restart? This is just him overdriving exit and almost completely losing it. That was a great save.
Almost, it was 4 wide there for a second. And almost contact there with the 03, but he regains control. Justin Ritchie battling to the inside of Philip Brewer. This is for the top 3. How many dominoes continue to fall here in the top 10?
Yeah, this has all really worked well for Justin Ritchie. All that checking up kind of got, and all those penalties got him into the top 3. Those top 2, Wright and Cabot, would pull completely away from this jumbled up mess third on back. But Justin Ritchie's going to take full advantage.
It's Caleb Weakley defending on the outside in the 8th position. The 3 of Noah Mahalski. So the 13 teammate with the 13 car. Back and forth for this top 10 position. They're looking to the outside of J.R. Shepard. Weakley in the wall.
Oh,
Ferrata. In
Ferrata.
the background, Ferrata had to dodge that one.
He had another slide that time. I think he had contact from Banks and ends up, he's faded a big time. He was in the battle for 2nd position. He's almost outside the top 15 completely. Banks on the outside, and ooh, Banks, I think Banks was turning off the wall and ended up coming down into the 07 of Ferrata. Also had Bailey Turner right behind him as well, so clearly Bailey Turner had an issue on his stop as well that we didn't really know.
How many times can you save a car? Ferrata's got 2 now.
Actually, that's my mistake. I think Turner was just back there, so he probably didn't have a mistake, just not running as well. Joshua Banks, we really haven't talked about yet tonight. Didn't really have the greatest of races last week. Really, everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
We mentioned his upside down camera last week, but really the race never got going for him.
Got it.
Yeah.
And before that yellow, he was right behind Horonis, who ended up spinning. He was outside the top 20, so O'Reilly car just not to his liking so far this season. Just has not had the speed. He's up in the 12th on his restart, so getting up there a little bit, but not quite up there just yet, as you can see 35 trying to fight that thing off the corner, and the camera is right side up for Banks. Hopefully he keeps the car the same way. He's probably going to try to follow Bailey Turner through on Seth Hatchell. That's for the 10th position, and Also trying to keep an eye on those drivers who sped or started at the rear, like Stravato and McWhorter. They've already made their way into the top 20.
And it's Caleb Weekly, who just got passed by the points leader after tonight. These two tied for position. Weekly was ahead of the 24 coming in for this second restart, second start of the evening, and thought maybe, just maybe, we could see a new points leader with Caleb Weekly. The Turner starting to turn up the heat a little bit.
Yeah, no one in the 3-car this week. 3-car won't lead the points, so it really is Weekly, Turner. Then you got Jarrett Shepard, who came in tonight 7 points back. Pretty early to be talking about the points lead, but every point matters when it comes to making a chase in this series. And every driver trying to get every finish possible to make it pretty easy on themselves, and Turner's no stranger to that either.
It's Jeff Wright with the lead now, with 11 laps on the tally mark. 7th position start. He's gained 6 spots to get here. Adam Cabot trailing by about a full second. Saw Cabot get into the wall a little bit ago. Both these cars actually got into the wall. I think Stravato was another one of those cars that maybe clipped the wall. And I got to wonder, how hard did Stravato hit it? Did he necessarily get a speeding penalty, or was he possibly repairing some right front damage?
I didn't see McWhorter hit the wall, and they both went to the back, so I'm not fully sure. I did see Stravato letting cars pass after exiting pit lane, so I believe he had definitely got a speeding penalty. Still not 100% clear on what happened to McWhorter, but either way, he still looks fast. He's up to 17th after restarting at the back, and Ferrata once again had to save it. He has not been getting much room off the corners from a lot of drivers as he's faded from that battle for second. He's going to fall back to 17th here. Stravato cut around the outside, but Ferrata not really getting much help today.
To make it 3.
See if this was the same thing, a driver coming down off the top side to hit him maybe. Massey gets the run. Yeah, I think Massey kind of came down a little bit. Kind of net Cody, but I think the 23 could have stayed a little higher. Yeah, Ferrata maybe pinched a little bit as well, but either way, his tires probably aren't happy with him.
No, these tires have been mad from the first one when he got loose coming off with 4, so
doesn't get much worse than that.
All for the ride.
Just happen to have a car in one piece. As Massey almost got in the back of Stravato, they're going to stay side by side. That's for 16th position. McWhorter's been trying to follow Stravato through this field, which it's the best thing possible is to have someone in front of you to do the work for you. McWhorter's been trying to follow him through, but he's kind of lost touch around these cars.
The downshift into 3rd gear. Did not get a good drive off the corner.
Same exact thing. Everyone's kind of struggling turning off the wall to avoid that turn 2 wall, and it just seemed like the same thing again. A little hip check from the top side, and McWhorter loses about 2 positions.
Ended up losing 3 or 4. He follows all the way back. Now he's going to fight back. He does have the momentum again, but he fell all the way back to Angelo Horonis. He was battling for 16th there just a second ago.
Really a lot of speed, but it's so hard to make and complete those passes at a track this tight where it really doesn't get spread out in the mid-pack until 20-plus laps later. And you can see how hard that pass is to make. Horonis pretty strong around the outside to the point where you do have to kind of cut that dog leg. You even got a little sideways cutting it, but having to do that to get that extra time into turn number 1. And you want to pull that slide job in the middle of 1 and 2 so badly, but if you don't have the room for it, you're going to have to hold off. He's going to just run Horonis completely out of room just about, but thankfully he was clear.
Look back up here to the top 10. Dakota Floyd has broke the top 5. Philip Brewer fell back to 6th spot. We saw this earlier with the 44. He obviously has the speed.
Tell you what, they are forcing the issue with that high line in 1 and 2. I've ran high at Phoenix before, but I've never seen drivers get this high close to the wall since like 9 years ago when I remember that being a line in the real world. But that's not really something I'm used to seeing drivers that close to the outside wall. They're all pushing it.
On board with the 6 of Elliott Butler. I see why they're doing it. You saw how much the 35 Banks had to lift out of the throttle there on the inside. Saw it a second ago with the 73 too.
Yeah, it's just so tight wrapping the bottom of 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 in the real world. You could kind of use that apron to your advantage. There's grip down there, but just on iRacing, just doesn't seem like it's really down there. You really are never going to see anyone venture down there in iRacing to make up speed. It just seems like the higher you go, the more grip you have, and if you're going to be tight all the way around the racetrack, you'd rather be around that outside line where you have a little bit more grip to work with. You're just pinching your exit so much out of turn 2 where the outside line just gets such a better run. It's not worth being down there.
Battles back here for the 8th position. 9th spot, actually. Bailey Turner and Caleb Weekly were side by side again for a moment.
And ran near identical laps last time by. Battle up ahead of them, battle up behind them. Butler and Banks still battling for that 11th position. Up ahead, it was Shepard and Mahalski and Philip Brewer for 6th. That's actually subsided, but Banks just trying desperately to get behind Elliott Butler. Cannot do it.
There's a look at the gap, 1.1 seconds ahead. Cabot spread there for the top 3. Richie has broke off from Carlisle. Then it's Floyd, Brewer, Mahalski, Shepard, Turner, and Weekly. Very competitive up here in the top 10. We watch through this field. Here's side by side coming off of turns 1 and 2. Then Laughter on the outside of McWhorter.
And Stravado's been able to get up to 14th, but McWhorter's pace with all the sideways incidents he's had, his progress is kind of slowed. He kind of hip checks Ben Laughter up the track to get that spot. Kenny Kibbe, who's not running very well as well, trying to get back through the field. I'm sure Laughter didn't really appreciate that hip check. But here comes Kibbe, who once again didn't qualify well, trying to get through the field, and he might have more pace than McWhorter at this point.
Look on board with Ben Laughter. And that's a pretty fine-looking paint scheme, if I will say. OKC on there. Like the gold and the orange.
Not having a horrible run. Top 20 right now in that 64 car. He started in the 29th position, so he's actually had a really good climb. Didn't really quite catch where he finished last week. 23rd in points, or excuse me, 23rd last week is where he finished, so even through all the chaos involved in some of that chaos, he wasn't really able to get quite the finish that he probably deserved, but running solidly right now.
7th position, starting to fade a little bit here for Noah Mahalski. He got by Shepard a moment ago. Shepard back on offense, and I think because he sees the 24, the 35, Weekly must have made a mistake. He lost 2 spots here just a moment ago.
I couldn't quite see what that mistake was. He was battling for that 10th position last lap. It just seems like maybe the pace is going away on that car because Butler was able to force his way by, and Stravado, just a lot of pace in that 33 car, able to get through the field at a track that is it's very tough to pass at, still making good time doing it, but not able to get to the bottom where he wanted to because Patchell kind of poked the nose. He's going to have to sit back in line, wait for another opportunity.
The one caution shaped up there on lap 27. Jeff Wright came out with the lead after a speeding penalty from Joseph McWhorter and a brush with the wall just now. Lost a little bit of ground to Cabot that time around.
Did you see Cabot, though? He almost followed him into the wall again. He fishtailed out of the corner not to hit the wall. As long as you get away with no damage, you know, who cares? But you're not going to be able to get away with that that many times without getting some sort of cosmetic damage that'll tighten the car. Any sort of fender damage, you're going to hurt that car and hurt the downforce on it. So yeah, he's got to start being a little more careful pretty early in the race to be doing that.
It's Eldon Stewart here battling. We were just talking about Ben Laughter a moment ago. McWhorter got by, and after lost a couple positions there where we got a little bit of contact coming out of 3 and 4. So some ground loss here back to 21st position. Angela Heronis racing side by side. That's the 20. Watching here, some side-by-side Hronis. Maybe going to hold him off.
And Hronis climbing back through the field, battling with, I believe, Brian Dean. I'm still not 100% on the pronunciation. I do apologize for that. I remember it might not have been Brian, but someone told me the pronunciation, and I'm still not 100% if it's Dean or not. So if I'm getting it wrong, I do apologize. But he's started about second to last. He's up into the top 25, and Hronis is just about back to where he spun from. So he's climbing solidly back through the field, albeit slower progress.
This is really the only side-by-side we have on this racetrack right now. Everybody else separated by about 0.2 of a second or more. You can go back here to Austin Belke. Just made a pass on the 07 into 3 and 4, and it was Tim Stronowski who just gave him the position. But back to it again here through 3 and 4. Actually 1 and 2. Excuse me.
Been what, 7 years?
Yeah, still to this day.
It's okay. Someone in the broadcast booth, I think Parker Klickerman, someone said that today. I think Clint Boyer. It was Clint Boyer. He mixed it up today, so you're certainly not the only one. Old habits are hard to get away from.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is just when I was peaking at driving these cars, that's what it was. Okay, that's where I started. So and you try to.
I peaked in this car when it was the old way.
Yeah.
And at this track. Whoa, that's gonna be tight. Side by side for 7th. They're rubbing doors out of turn number 4 pretty early.
Now we're coming up on halfway. I'm gonna start defending some positions.
Start to spread out, and we've seen those top 3. I mean, clean air matters a lot to the point where those top 3 got away as there's almost contact between the 35 and 03, but you can see on the interval, those top 3 have pulled away. It's a second from Wright to Cabot, then another 1.4 seconds or so to Justin Ritchie, who's solidly in 3rd, and then he's another second ahead of Carwile, and that's when the intervals get a little smaller. From the 71 of Carwile all the way back, still pretty close, but those top 3 are able to separate. Elliott Butler, AJ Stravado going to battle. That's for 11th. They had contact last week, and I saw one car just slide into turn number 1, so I can't imagine these two are having too much fun battling each other. Six got into the 33 last week. 33 kind of returned the favor. I can imagine both remember how that went.
Three going to use the apron there to rotate the car on the inside. Just cannot get clear of the 6 of Butler. Going to fight hard here off the exit of the corner. Should have the advantage going into 3 and 4, but Butler's going to fight back, get back to the nose. Pitch down here.
Well, both of them are driving 110% right now. That's really the first time I've seen anyone use the apron right there, is what Stravado did in the 1. He drove it in so hard, kind of used the apron to try to grip that car up, get a little off center, get some grip, and I think that here he's just going to slide it up in front of Butler. Butler way overdrove the corner to stay on his outside. This is good stuff. Look at how much that 33 sliding the tires trying to make this pass. He might get the spot, but he's going to lose all his tire conservation points on this one.
Let me go. Let me go. He's shouting it, I guarantee it.
He's not going to let him go by any means. They might wreck before either driver gives way. Stravado's got that thing on the right rear completely as he actually hit the apron there. Finally going to get this spot. I can imagine Butler's going to cross him over. Wasn't quite able to.
Well, they're probably not too happy about that move.
I can't tell. Stravado must have a lot of rear brake in that car. And at a track this tight, that's kind of the way you need to drive it. You need to have that rear brake really low so you can get rotated. Whoa, Caleb Wigley sliding into turn number 1. And he ends up making the save. That was a tight one. He got a bump from Ferrata for 14. You see him still trying to collect that thing.
Problems back here. Brandon Wallace had a little issue.
Ray Massey just dropped a couple of spots as well. Didn't really see what happened to Brandon Wallace. Might have just gotten loose at it too.
I saw the speed drop all the way down. I don't know if he missed a shift maybe.
Maybe thought they were going to wreck and checked up.
Yeah, I saw his speed all the way down to like 90 miles per hour, which is I guess that's about on par. It's a little slow for the corner, though, in my opinion.
Probably 10 miles an hour off from what drivers ahead of him are doing. Not best of runs so far. Back in the 31st position, which is well off where he started. He started in the 20th position.
So I gotta wonder if maybe he's in fuel save mode for some spots. It's a lot of downshift into 1 and 2. It's actually the opposite.
Don't know if he's actually downshifting or if that's a... I don't know if that's a downshift or audio glitch. It's really tough to downshift in these cars with an H pattern. Even with paddles, it's still tough to keep, you know, from spinning it out when you downshift. The corners aren't quite slow enough for it. I don't think here. And you do know, you do make a good point about the fuel. It's going to be kind of tricky, possibly. Full fuel tanks. We went about 30 laps green. We went back green about lap 31. So if you were going to make it on fuel on one stop, you probably got to get it to somewhere around lap 90 to 95. We're still pretty far ways away from that, and the race pace, the tires do still wear, and we're seeing that right now because Adam Cabot's actually made it a half-second gap instead of a full 1 second gap. Jeff Wright's best time this run was a 28.06. He's running 29.4s right now, so still about 1.5 seconds worth of fall off, maybe even more than that for the drivers in dirty air. So fall off was real. Tire saving does matter, and Cabot's showing it right now. 2 tenths faster the last time by, and he's starting to kind of go to the bottom of the racetrack, get some clean air on the nose. But you're starting to see the 48 kind of cut that off by diamonding that corner exit that McWhorter was doing earlier.
How long will it keep the 17 of Cabot at bay? You also have the 55 of Justin Ritchie, who's putting on a fantastic drive so far. He's pulled about 2 full seconds ahead. Joshua Banks fighting with Ryan Carwile for 4th.
Talking about Banks not having speed, he shut us up, or really shut me up. I'm really the one who said it. He was not running in the top 20 before the yellow and got a new set of tires on it, and he surged through the field all the way up to this 4th spot, almost up to this 4th spot. Can't quite clear Carwile for this spot. And even while battling for this spot, they're still running time slightly better than Justin Ritchie. Ritchie had a good start, got away from that chaos with Ferrado, was able to run away with 3rd. Long run pace maybe not great, but he's got a lot of time back to this battle for 4th.
So going back to Caleb Wakely's run, starting to feather away a little bit here. He started out pretty strong up in the top 15. Has fallen back to 17th, so worst position so far for the 13 car. Maybe used him up a little bit. Had a different approach to that first stint. First 27 laps seemed like he was being pretty conservative with the tires, but this time around, sliding it into the corners, over braking, trying to gain anything he can on the 14 at Kibbe, but he ends up losing ground. And now Ray Massey's to the inside.
Remember, he was running in the top 10, and leaders are still running 29.5s, and last time by here in a 30 flat. So definitely the tires falling off this 13, where he was running top 10, in danger of falling just about to the edge of the top 20 right now. So definitely probably needs a yellow or just a short pit for tires, just for a reset. Maybe figure it out on the next run what to do to keep the tires on.
AJ Stravano going to look to the inside for the top 10. Finally, the 33 has an opportunity. He's been sliding it down on that apron. It seems to be working.
I tell you what, he's running that line that really no one else is doing. I mean, he's not going to get enough of a run out of 2 to make it work, but he entered. His right front was at the door of Mahalski, and he just drove it so deep into turn 1, just sent it 4 tires below the yellow line onto the apron, and just slammed the brakes in the center of the corner to get it to plant to the bottom, to rotate it. And it ends up working, eventually making that pass. But that's how he's been making his passes. He just sends it to the bottom and is able eventually to just rotate the center, just slamming on the brakes, getting to the apron. It's working for him right now.
Mahalski with a little bit of right front damage you can see there on that quick lane Ford Mustang. He's got his hands full. Mistake there at some point for the 03.
Yeah, I don't quite know when that was. It was probably about 6 laps ago, if I had to guess. I just don't see anyone with damage that would match up to that 03's damage, but with how much the right front tire wear, I'm sure, is right now, right front damage with the fender is going to kill his pace, and he's starting to fade because of it. It just seems like for dirty air, that half-second range is really where it seems to become an issue. Cabot got to about half a second behind, and now Jeff Wright's kind of turned up the jets a little bit, started to pull back away.
Well, now we're past the halfway mark in this race. It's a perfect opportunity to find that remote control. Turn up those hearing aids. Let's get loud. Presented by FireStorm Racing. Wow, presented by FireStorm Racing. We have the 57 of Dakota Floyd bring it down pit road during that segment. And he is now on fresh tires. The 57, a little bit of an undercut here. Let's say by at least 2 or 3 laps. Let's see anybody else.
Joseph McWhorter came in a little earlier than him. Looked like McWhorter pit lap 77. So 73 is actually in front of the 57s. They're right next to each other, trying to maybe be in line for a lucky dog. 57 pit around lap 81. So 73 was the biggest undercut of them all. And not surprising, we saw him really lose his pace. Couldn't get through the field like the 33 did. John Sanu pits from the 18th position. So pit stop starting should probably really big undercuts though. I think if you're trying to make it on one stop, that halfway point in this run is about lap 93. So compared to that lap, these 3 drivers have really undercut, maybe too much. We should still probably be maybe 5-10 laps away from these other drivers, majority of the field pitting. By the way, how about the gap?
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there, but it was half a second. Well, that would be why, because Adam Cabot's pitting. That makes a lot more sense.
See, you interrupt me, and then you tell me the 17's down pit road. Oh, I got too many buttons to push, Tommy.
Well, I think last lap was a 30 flat from the 17 at Cabot, so something. I think he had one bad lap and decided, yeah, it's time to put some tires on it. I still think this is a pretty big undercut, but, you know, at the same time, track position matters, so we'll just see what prevails. I mean, it all gets derailed if there's a yellow, so most drivers undercutting desperately don't want.
Yeah. Cabot just now down and away. He's going to end up losing a lap. Makes sense in a 1-mile racetrack. Jeff Wright going to stay out on the racetrack for a little while longer.
Ben Laughter pits from outside the top 20. He's right. Jeff Wright's ran into some lap traffic. He's got Matt Shanowski in front of him. He's currently 28th. Starting to see that battle for second become maybe a touch closer. Joshua Banks is not quite there yet. Speaking of Justin Ritchie, Joshua Banks, the gap from Wright to Ritchie is about the length of the back straightaway. It's how fast those top 2 how big of a pace advantage they have.
6.2 seconds up to Jeff Wright, who's caught up to some lap traffic, trying to still navigate around the 31. He will get clear here through 1 and 2, but he lost about 2/10 there to Richie. Now, probably going to gain it back here this next lap. Justin Ritchie has been impressive here today. Really happy with the run I'm seeing out of the 55. Let's see if he can seal the deal with a podium finish.
All to just talk to one of us, and we'll decide who he talks to. Well, during the break we have between the interviews, but definitely a great run. Had a great restart to get P3, and he's been able to hold on to it ever since. As looks like Carwile pit from 4th, so that's really the first front runner to pit. Caleb Weekly, who we saw slow on the long run, also decided to pit. Haven't seen anyone else really trickle down yet. It's just been a slow pace of cars coming down the pit.
But trickle-down economics they always talk about, right?
Does that apply to racing? I guess maybe we're finding out today.
Yeah, I think it does. I think once you get enough people on pit road, everybody feels like they have to buy.
The fear of missing out is something else you could call that, I suppose. Don't want to miss out on getting fresh tires too early or too late. Got to find that sweet spot.
Joshua Banks, I want to throw him on the list of impressive drives. And I think right now where he's sitting, he has a real shot at a podium. Put this together, finally get the 35 car finish.
He restarted 13, so to be able to get into the top 4 is pretty impressive. Obviously, he was running 4th before he got by Ryan Carwile for that spot. As here comes, we'll see on the outside, Dakota Floyd, fresh tires. Got to make that pass look easy. I think currently he's trying to, at least if he can't make up too many spots doing this, he's trying to get in line for the lucky dog. Currently, Shinosky's got it. But a good run for the 35, and he needs it. He's had 2 poor races.
I'm going to try to look at that paint scheme again one more time. Getting divorced due to iRacing, better call Saul.
Just hope he's not projecting. Well, lap 94, or at least leaders taking lap 94. Ray Massey's come down the pit lane. But Jeff Wright, Kenny Kibbe's actually come down the pit. Jeff Wright, not quite yet. Kind of past that mark where you would undercut. And at this point, I would say drivers pitting are mostly overcutting. And Seth Hatchell's come down to pit lane. And now the race leader will decide to come to pit lane.
.45 miles per hour for Jeff Wright from the top spot. 17 and Cabot had been on the racetrack for about 6 laps. Probably made up that deficit. Remember, we're talking about almost a full 3 seconds of fall off in the lap times.
Just looks like I saw the 98.35 come down the pit behind Jeff Wright as well. Trying to get another reading on his fall off. It was about a 28 flat. So really like 1.6 seconds of fall off, I think, is what the driver in clean air had. You could probably add a little bit more to that for the drivers in dirty air. I'll distort right side of the screen, saw him pitting. So Richie going to take this run a little bit longer.
Are we trying to make it one stop? Starting to ask the question here.
I think if drivers have made it to this point, you don't really need to save to make it a one stop. I do worry about McWhorter and Floyd, how early they pit, if they can make it on one stop.
Matt Shinosky coming down from around the 20th position. 31 will find his stall. AJ Stravado.
Talk about good drives. I mean, he got all the way up into the top 10 from tail end. He had an incredible drive on that restart to be in contention for another good finish here.
Justin Ritchie, your leader now. He's got 3 laps led under his belt. He'll stay out an additional lap, and maybe at this point you're hoping for a caution. It worked out last week for Bailey Turner. Maybe he's trying the same strategy again.
I like just being on sequence when you're online for maybe one of your better finishes, but you'll overcut, maybe try to get a stroke of luck here. And 18 Farada's pit. So really the majority of the field's starting to come down the pit. Aronis in, 20 of Dean's in. Richie's got a lot of gap to work with Bailey Turner. He's got about 4 seconds.
One caution, 4 lead changes here this evening, but you're the statistician of this league. Connor, how many times have we seen a race with a long green flag run And then we get into that window of about 30 to go, and it all goes away.
I'd say we've seen that in both races this season, and obviously Auto Club, as Nathan Ferrado leads the race, we've seen that. We saw it especially at Auto Club. 77 laps green turned into 30 laps of cautions as Lakatos pits, Davis pit, Belke back there as well comes the pit lane. Just hoping not to have to catch a yellow. I'm sure most drivers don't want to catch a yellow, let alone be the yellow.
Goodavoy starting to cycle out back towards this top 10. He's got the 99 of Brandon Wallace on the outside. So Wallace trying to defend 10th spot, but not going to happen. These fresh tires from the 57. Quick work and a little loose there off of 2. He'll go on around. Adam Cabot going to gain a position as well on Christopher Hodges. Hodges continuing to stay out. We still have about 10 cars on the racetrack that have yet to pit. With Max Costo out here, he's now come down.
And right now, Cabot would cycle out to be the race leader. Remember, he undercut by a pretty decent margin. He came down the pit, I believe, lap 87, and Jeff Wright hadn't come down the pit until maybe 5 laps after, or even more than that, about 8 laps after. So 8 lap pressure tires on the 48. That has Cabot in the clean air, though, as Turner finally comes down the pit. Richie probably running this too long at this point, but continues to lead laps.
Time nut 0078. Thank you very much for the 199. Appreciate you coming out here. If this is your first time watching. We've got Chaos for the lead. Justin Ritchie just trying to hold on for as long as he can. Chuck Sweeting down pit road. Bailey Turner just finished up service. And a lot of action here for the 3rd race of the season. Season number 6 of Saturday Night Racing League in the Cup Series. 2 different winners. 2 different races. Andrew Telganoff getting the win at Daytona. Bailey Turner getting the win at Auto Club. These are going to be here tonight at Phoenix. Right now, I'm thinking the way it's shaking out, Jeff Wright lost a little bit of ground, but he's got fresher tires.
He's right to the inside of Cabot. That's really what the battle, what's going to cycle out to be the lead right there. And I think Cabot lost some ground with Lakatos in the mix, and Jeff Wright's going to get that spot.
For that $1.99, we'll take a look for exactly $1.99's worth. I think that's going to bring us to 1.99 miles. So we'll watch here for a lap with Caleb Weekly currently running in the 19th position rather. Had some problems earlier. He's running in the top 10 on that restart. Numbers back to 10th, and then, man, I don't know what happened to the 13. I don't know if pushed the tires too hard. But it's just not been the 13's day.
No, it did pit maybe a little earlier than everyone else, and still running barely in the top 20. Not the best of races, but should still kind of tap the wall there. But still in a decent points position coming out of this race, even if they finish right here. So not the end of the world, as looks like Bailey Turner's going to get that position. They're going to go side by side, nearly bang doors. Turner, one of the drivers who kind of overcut, as meanwhile Justin Ritchie's finally come down the pit lane.
Cut this off just before the start finish line, so there you go. 1.99.
Still waiting on Mahalski. Really just about it. Christopher Hodges might not have pit yet. If he did, it was a severe undercut, but I do not think he's been the pit lane. So
Wallace
still waiting on the
hasn't
15.
either.
Yep, Brandon Wallace still yet to pit.
Now, how far could he go? We're 77 laps on the stint, Connor. I have to think maybe another 4 laps at the max.
We've stretched it out about as far as anyone can really go. So I really do not agree with the overcut at a track like this where it's hard to pass and clean air matters, but I do like the undercut. Joseph McWhorter is one of those drivers who pulled off the undercut. He pit from 15th position, lap 77, so if he's going to make it to the end, he's going to take pretty much a full fuel tank as Mahalski finally pits. Brian Chambliss pits behind him, but that short pit put McWhorter almost into the top 5, so it's worked out pretty well for him as he's actually battling with Joshua Banks for that position as Jeff Wright continues to soar away.
Two-time champion here in Saturday Night Racing League. Won Season 1, got Season 5. List of 4 drivers on those I got to say, with the Challenger Series, a lot of these guys that raced over there have turned up the heat. You've got guys that were champions over there, like Dakota Floyd, like Phillip Brewer, that are mixing it up here in the Cup Series. It's good to see the talent pool and the concentration of all those drivers brought here into one series on Saturday night.
It's a pretty deep field and a pretty big field, as you know, pretty big gap for Jeff Wright right now. It's up to 2.4 seconds. Remember, he has 8 lap pressure tires in the 17. Dakota Floyd obviously had some pretty good pace at the beginning of the race. A kind of undercut with the 73. He's able to get by. He's gained a lot of track position from that undercut himself up to that 3rd position.
I'm trying to figure out how this is all going to cycle through as we watch Jeff Wright pull away. 2.6 seconds is about the gap when they started pit stops. I don't think anybody can touch Jeff Wright unless we get a caution. I'm not seeing anybody that's on a better stint of tires. Maybe a couple guys back here with AJ Stravado in the 33, but he's so far back, 13 seconds. I don't see the 33 getting there in time. We've got just over 40 laps to go in this one. Stravado, Shepard, Kibbe, the end of the top 10, and we'll watch a pass for that 10th position as Bailey Turner goes to the inside in 1 and 2. Kibbe's held his own though, gained the spots. Remember, electing deep in this field, 24th position, expect nothing less. More the same from Kenny Kibbe.
Yeah, just not great qualifying effort. He didn't really undercut or overcut. He pretty much pit right at that halfway point in the run. It's put him in a pretty good sweet spot to where he might be able to pull this off and end up getting at least a top 15 out of the day, possibly. Remember, he was in that battle with McWhorter for about the 15th position before pit stop started, so he's definitely gained a decent bit of time. And I'm interested to see where Justin Ritchie cycles out, because not too far behind this 14 is Justin Ritchie, who severely overcut. I didn't really like the call. He was running 3rd most of that run. He's now about 9 seconds behind Joshua Banks, who's in 3rd, but I think he'll definitely get a top 10 out of the day. I just don't know if he'll get back to 3rd.
Yeah, that's just too much fall off. He was running in the top 3, but for every lap he stayed out there, he was losing a second and a half a time. That turned into about 10 spots. That's not what you want.
You know, tires, pretty much every tire stint evens out eventually near the end of fuel runs. So that's what I worry about. Can he get enough positions before these tires start to even out? That's going to be the question, as he's going to make these passes relatively easily. He'll get by Kibbe. He will probably get the Bailey Turner and J.R. Shepard, who Turner gets that 9th spot away from Shepard just up the road. But at some point, those tires will even out and eventually pretty much die.
Seth Hatchell racing for the 6th spot. Hatchell has turned it up as well. Started at 18th. Started to flirt with the top 5. Black car in front of him, that's the 31 of Shinosky. It's a long road up there to Joseph McWhorter. McWhorter actually on the flip of what we saw earlier. McWhorter had a hard time getting through traffic. Stravado had a great time. Now with the strategy call, McWhorter on the short pit. 39 laps on this stint to work his way to the top 5. But Patrick struggling to get around Carlisle. Still can't get it done.
And it was a severe undercut. I mean, like, once again, McWhorter pit lap 77. Severe undercut. AJ Stravado has 20 lap fresher tires, and McWhorter is running laps only maybe a 10th off the 33 right now. So this undercut, I hated the way undercut, but honestly, it's working really well for the 73. It's put him from 15th up to 5th, so at this rate, it's going to be a net gain. Only question mark is if he can make it on fuel, because 80 laps on the tank is stretching it, as we just saw that previous run. That's the only concern, but this has been a great strategy call for him and Dakota Floyd. Remember, Dakota Floyd wasn't too far behind either, and they're both in the top 5, so severe undercut. As long as they make it on fuel, pretty well done.
Well, while we have an opportunity, we're going to take a quick break here on VSPEED. You are watching Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors. Back with Race 3 at Phoenix right after this.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time, so I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Back here live at Phoenix, you were witnessing the battle for the top 10. Unbelievable. That's all I have to say as we come back here. Caution out with around 30 laps to go. Ryan Carwile has contact. That's... Oh, and the 03 and Mahalski gets turned during caution.
What in the world was that about? That was Eldon Stewart who hit him.
One of Stewart ran into the back of him.
I don't think that was intentional. I think that was just a complete mistake, but as was the yellow. The only driver who didn't want to see this yellow is Jeff Wright. He was gone, had the race won, and Carwell's still going to be second. Or no, he's a lap down. He has to pit behind the leader, but this shakes up everything as Turner got by all these drivers and just drifted up the racetrack into the left rear of the 71 and put him into the wall.
And if we could go back even further and look at this battle, he took it 3 wide here. Watch this off of 1 and 2.
A great battle right here. Richie had the fresher tires. Everyone was getting held up by Carwile. No one could make this pass. If Richie goes as low as anyone's gone all night, no grip down there really. He's not able to hold it. Both the 33 and 71 get a run. But so tight off the corner. Both drivers sliding. Slight contact there. Almost caused the caution right there as Richie just had to slide to avoid a wreck right there. It let Turner really what put Bailey Turner in position to be the next driver in line to try to race the 71 for position. Jeff Wright's out of pit lane first, no issues there. Justin Ritchie came out second.
I think Jeff Wright actually got to access pit road before everybody else. Might be wrong on that.
Right
There's
there,
the contact.
24. He just slid up the track a little bit too much into the 71. As Carwell will not be happy about that. Justin Ritchie took 2 tires, so that will be interesting. But yeah, Carwell, top 5 really all race, top 10 really all race. Nothing he could do about that one.
And we're going to watch the aftermath here. We've missed pit stops, so that's fine. Pretty much the whole field came down. But what
Wright
happened?
leads. Wright leads. Ritchie's second on 2 tires. Then Banks, Cabot, and Floyd other top 5. So that's the order we will line up in.
Catching up to the pace car right about here.
Just a checkup. Like he just wasn't paying attention and ran over Mahalski. I don't think there's anything else to look at there. He just wasn't paying attention.
Well, that cycle us back.
How about the waiver? A lot of waiver rounds there because of when that yellow fell too.
Yeah. We'll have 27 laps to go when we take the green flag. Jeff Wright, your leader. Justin Ritchie, Joshua Banks, Adam Cabot, Dakota Floyd, the top 5. We've got Turner, Stravano, Hatchell, McWhorter, Kibbe, the top 10. Wright has had the lead for most of the afternoon. But it's the 55 of Ritchie on 2 tires. Here comes Banks on this restart for second. 3 wide behind him.
I just don't know if this 2-tire call is going to work. It didn't get him the lead, so now he's going to be in dirty air with less tires than everyone around him, and they're stacking up. Banks got the second, though.
And a check there, a little, hey, how are you from AJ Stravano to Dakota Floyd, 57, has company.
Ritchie's able to make the tires work for now. Got clear. Oh, they make contact. McWhorter and Stravano, little door banging. That's what happens in a dog leg, is they're going to make a little more contact right there in the middle of the corner. You just kind of lose track of where that driver is when you cut the dog leg like that.
It looks like Stravano feels faster than the 57, especially on that entry to 3 and 4. Floyd's going to move up the racetrack, take him 3 wide into 1.
Porter got that spot. They'll both try to get Dakota Floyd. Banks trying to close in on the 48, just not quite there. As this is how long it takes to sort things out at Phoenix. As big slide job there. Oh, Dakota Floyd gets turned. Look out, Ray Massey's involved.
And a dodge there at the last second by Lakatos.
Ray Massey got a big piece of that.
It's
like
McWhorter's fault, I think.
McWhorter does a slide job on Dakota Floyd, but he hits the wall in the process. It stacks things up, and Stravano just couldn't check up in time. Right there, hits the wall, stacks things up, Stravano into the back, and then comes back across traffic. Ray Massey gets nowhere to go in the left rear.
On board with Ray Massey in the 23.
Floyd doesn't bounce hard off the wall, he's fine, but just ran out of room and right in the left rear suspension. Kind of similar to what we saw with Hodges last week. You can see how broken that car was.
Floyd with an expired engine here, smoking to pit road.
Not happy with the 73 over the radio. McWhorter not necessarily taking blame. Kind of get that with the 73 sometimes. Aggressive driver, pretty fast. Sometimes mistakes happen. And you'll get another reset. Every driver should have 2 sets of tires besides the ones pitting right here, but I believe those are all the waiver round drivers. Actually, no, they all have 1 set of tires left. That's my mistake. So everyone should have 1 set left, and really no one at the front decided to use them this time.
Again, shout out to, missed it earlier during that caution break. Actually, it was a commercial break that turned into a caution break. I would like to thank you again there for the $19.99 and the other $1.99 Buckeye Nut. And if you are enjoying tonight's action, this goes out to everybody. Hit the subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race. We have flag-to-flag coverage every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The entire season, all the way through to August for season number 6. Saturday Night Racing League has been a proud partner here on VSPEED. We'd like to thank Walk and Rolling Costumes. Of course, the main series sponsor, M&J Distributors, Clark Print Shop, FireStorm Racing, everyone in between. Let's help put this together. Uzi Spider Studios for the edits and all the work they do for us personally on VSPEED and here in this series. I'd like to thank Jeff Wright and the admin team as we get set up for a late race restart. Under 20 to go.
I get a piece of that 20.
I think it all goes to Adam. It all goes to Adam Baker.
It is his company, I suppose.
We have to fight him for it. Maybe we'll get it here on this restart. Let's see if we can get some quality for the last few laps of this race.
Banks almost rolled before the 48. Kind of had the check up, and that let Jeff Wright get away. 3 wide for the 3rd position.
Have it way up high.
Still 3 wide. Whoa, contact. Bumping, banging. They got away with it for now.
It took a couple laps for it to recycle, but Justin Ritchie on 2 tires, fighting hard here for the 5th spot.
I think he was fine if that somehow went green on that last restart, but didn't get a good launch, and now he's in trouble. Tell you what,
Yeah.
Joshua Banks is driving pretty hard short run. He's right on the bumper of the 48, but can't quite make a move.
And everything behind him is allowing them to pull away. Adam Cabot breaks off at the top 3, and then you watch Justin Ritchie still fighting with Joseph McWhorter. This can hold up these guys from 4th on back. 33 of Stravado going to look to the inside. It was Bailey Turner who had contact with the cars earlier. Brought out that first yellow. And around 35 to go. 24 car, though, considered a racing deal.
It hasn't worked out for him, really. I mean, he was battling for 5th, and because of these restarts, he's actually fallen a few spots back to 8th, so not really working out for him right now. As neither is the 2 tires. Ritchie's starting to fade because of it.
Well, this is a different stint. We saw it earlier when your approaches, you know, we can have a long green flag run. We're going to conserve the tires, back up our entries, and see what we have, 60 laps into the run. That's all out the window. Now it's who can push the car as hard as they can for as long as they can.
And if I go on, if it ends up being 10 laps, 110%, don't have to save the tires. I like Joshua Banks. I like clean air more, but I like Joshua Banks in this position. He might overstep his boundaries. We saw that with him and Jeff Wright at Kansas last season, but he's not afraid to put the bumper to someone for the victory, and he's flirting with it right now. Full focus. You get the lean in, you start leaning into the corners like he does. He's focused.
Yeah, that's the lock-in that we see on the Twitch. You can look up Banksy the iRacer right now. Actually live on YouTube as well.
Oh, this is a big deep. Oh, this is even too deep into the corner almost. He got dead even with him. If he could stay on the left rear, he might be able to. I think he took Jeff Wright by surprise there. I don't think Wright expected that. Oh, crash way in the back. I think Dakota Floyd is, no, not Dakota Floyd. That's John Sanu who's crashed hard. Brian Chambliss was in it. So was Stephen Davis. Oh, sorry, I saw Sanu. Huge hit. We might see drivers take tires here. Wow, that was way late out of the corner.
Chambliss in the aftermath, the checkup.
I think Vaclavic might have gotten into him, but Sanu just all of a sudden just was spinning. So I think everyone's going to take their final set of tires here. No, everyone's mostly staying out. That's surprising. Oh, him and Stephen Davis had contact.
And punted from the 7.
Yeah, the ARCA braking sometimes happens. I'm not sure if Vaclavic ever saw it, but just looked like they just kind of touched out of the corner. Sanu just got a little loose, turned it down off the wall like we've seen so many drivers do, and Stephen Davis was there. Did have some drivers pit, but not mainly the drivers at the front. First driver to pit was Kenny Kibbe, who was running 10th. He brought a lot of drivers in, so I think it's much harder to pass here than it is at Auto Club, and there's not a lot of room, and the fall-off's not as great. So I don't like this call as much as I liked it last week, but I think pitting from 10th, I understand it, as him and Lakatos will have a very slow drag race off a pit lane. It's neck and neck. Who's going to win it? Oh, Kibbe wins.
Kibbe cheated.
No, he didn't speed.
NSR Kibbs on Twitch in the 14. He likes to start all the way back in 20th position to run his way up here. And guess what? Sometimes the race recycles and you end up back where you started.
We'll see where he ends up restarting. He'll almost certainly be the first driver on 4 tires. Trying to see, looks like maybe around 20th, somewhere around there is going to be where he cycles out. So he pit from 10th, he'll probably cycle out somewhere around 20th. So in 12 laps, it's going to be a lot of work to do just to get back to where he hit from.
Yeah, there's too many guys that stayed out. From Chris Hodges all the way up to Jeff Wright in 17th position. 17 cars to get back to the lead. It's pretty much an impossible task. And also, you're going to have that tire advantage, but where do you take it? And the likelihood of somebody brushing the outside wall. Seeming a lot.
If the track was a little more realistic, you had that gripper on the apron in 1 and 2, you could go all the way to the inside wall to make a pass. We've seen Corey Heim do it, won him a championship. You will almost certainly see 4 wide at some point if we get, even on this restart or more restarts. And remember, the first 2 races of the season, we've ended with green-white checkers. We used 1 at Daytona. We've used all 3 at Auto Club, so who knows? That either means we're using 2 tonight or I don't know. But Joshua Banks, I would not put it past him to make contact with Jeff Wright here.
Defense at its best here for about 12 laps. Jeff Wright's got to hold him off, and there's a lot of hungry cars behind him. Looking 3 wide there for a moment with Stravato. Cabby gets clear of Joshua Banks. So a new driver in 2nd spot. McWhorter with a little contact in the right rear of the 35. Sends it into 3 and 4. And a hard hit there. 35 cars still trying to regain control. They're stacking up big time into the corner in the 44 Brewer.
That was weird. Once Banks got put sideways, I'm not sure what happened. It's almost like he wasn't in gear because he just didn't get going. As you could see the frustration, know where he could go. Nothing he could do after that. He just made a mistake. I think him and Cabot had contact, and poor Kenny Kibbe got big damage out of that after just taking tires. Let's see. Looked like Cabot came down to block the 35 on the inside, and Banks just drove it in there like no one was there. Then he just, I guess, turned it left to get out of the way, and they just kept stacking up because there's so many cars on the inside line. It's like, I think he's maybe expecting Cabot to run high, give him the space, and Cabot comes down to take that bottom line. It just stacks up after the contact, and Philip Brewer was the one who went around out of it.
But that close call, sneaking on by. On board with Weekly. Watch this.
Jared Shepard got damaged. He's going to pit from 12. There's things to stack up, and whew, just got away with that one. I'm just not sure what happened to Banks to where if he just gave up and, stopped going on the throttle, because he just kind of stops after he half spins. I just wasn't sure why that happened, but that's kind of what stacks everything up. Whether it was him checking up after causing the incident or not.
Maybe loose. I know you go in there, you make contact with somebody, you slide the tires, and you're going to touch that throttle again, it snaps free. Maybe he thought that if he stayed off the throttle, the car would a stable, but that causes that checkup behind you. You got 20 plus cars coming into the corner at the same break point, you know?
Yeah, that just, I don't know if that maybe contact, maybe he had something happen to his steering wheel, his pedals, or what. He just didn't go, really. So either way, he had a good run going from the back, but just not the start to the season he's needed. He's going to try to salvage whatever finish he can, but it's not going to be as good as it was going to be. And I think this works out for Jeff Wright. Those tires, you have even less time to get to the front. And Kenny Kibbe, who has those fresher tires, he got up to 14th, but he has a lot of damage. So it's going to be tougher to make up any positions after something like that. Case Lakatos has probably the next driver who has 4 fresh tires, and he will restart. He's still back in 21st position, so there might even be other drivers in front of him who have fresh tires, like Matt Szymanski.
A quick reminder here for action on Monday through Friday. Sunday's Mystic Racing League also on tap. Got a lot of racing, a lot of ovals, a lot of road,
A lot of Mystic.
a lot of Mystic, a lot of Coat Locker. There's a lot going on. And also catch Misfit Racing, the touring series. They went live at 8:30. You can watch the replay on that on demand. We have 3 green-white checkers at our disposal here. Let's see if we have to use one with 7 laps to go. Green flag, Jeff Wright. Almost matched here by McWhorter into the dogleg.
That was a really good restart for the 73. He might have a shot to maybe do something with the 48 in the corner. He bumped him into turn number 1. Sent them up the track. Here comes McWhorter for the lead. They're wrecking at the back. Who gets the lead? It's going to be Jeff Wright as the caution comes out. Brendan Wallace, Stephen Davis, and Michael Jones all crashed. That was frantic, like another stack up. Look, Brandon Wallace got loose, and then back into Shepard, and big hits for 99 and 22 and the 60.
Back this up one more time. We gotta look at this from the blimp camera, just a few positions ahead. Watch the drive into 3, or into 1 rather. That's a send. I don't think that was an intended line there for Ben Lapter, but he made it work.
I think he got the boot from Lakatos, sent them down there, and then Brandon Wallace, I couldn't tell if he made contact with anyone. It just looked like he got loose entering the corner, trying to check up, maybe not run into Brian Dean, and just spun it. Right there, Shepard gets hit. Frantic restart, though. Thought Jeff Wright was in trouble for a moment. McWhorter went for it. That's probably the best restart you can get, timing it with the leader, and he gave it a run. He sent them up the track, but Wright was able to keep it off the wall, collect it, and keep the lead. And we've seen these two make contact for the win before, and I think last time it happened was Charlotte last season, and it didn't work out for either of them.
On the flip side of things, there's always a silver lining, and if you're Christopher Hodges right now, you want one more caution. You want this to come down to green-white checkered. You've been holding on to the top 10 and been outside of the top 20 all evening. And then these closing laps, the drivers that stayed out, you've got Hronis, Sweeting, a lot of names that have been outside the top 10 all day.
Yeah, this actually worked out really well for Chuck Sweeting to be able to kind of cling to a top 10 here. Just want to see who else might be on tires. We obviously know the 14 was. I believe Philip Brewer, he has tires. Weekly, like you mentioned, Lakatos, Szymanski. So Kibbe's in 14th. Matt Szymanski's on tires. I do not know about Tim's, but Weekly's on tires up to 13th.
Tim's on tires, but it's a different stint of tires. It was that first caution that came out. We got about 18 laps on the stint here. So did come into pit. The rest of these drivers have 25 on the stint.
We'll get another restart. McWhorter can't time it behind the 48 this time, so I think advantage goes to Adam Cabot. But the one thing that really killed that strategy pitting after the yellow with Bailey Turner is that, or not the yellow Bailey Turner, I believe the one with Dakota Floyd, is that most of those drivers who came down and took tires were in that crash with Joshua Banks. Getting into Adam Cabot is born under caution. We'll see if we see more of that, but a lot of those drivers who took tires, that kind of killed their strategy.
4 to go, 3 to go when we take the green. It's gonna almost be a natural green-white checker for the closing laps here at Phoenix. Jack Klinger said it best, 85%. In the last 15%, it all falls apart. Check up on the outside, not a good restart for the 73, but it's legal, and it goes into turn 1.
Yeah, once again, it kind of looked like he rolled before the 48. He's going to have a good center of the corner through 1 and 2, but just not enough to get to the bumper.
Been tough to get that car to roll, and one car really been doing it well today is AJ Stravato. We also have Bailey Turner up here in the top 5 in the closing laps. 55 of Justin Ritchie, still on those 2 tires. He's held on to 6th.
2 to go. I just don't think McWhorter's close enough to have a real look at the 48 without junking him, and just couldn't get close enough. Wall bouncing is going to work out for him. He's actually going to get a great run off of 2.
They'll get a run on the 73.
That's all Jeff Wright needs to see right there, them side by side for second.
White flag in the air one more time around for Jeff Wright. M&J Distributors and the Saturday Night Racing League for week number 3 is going to find its 3rd name in season 6 in Victory Lane. Final time off of 1 and 2, now to 3 and 4 as a battle brews for 3rd position with Bailey Turner, but Jeff Wright's going to get the victory. Bailey Turner uses the 17 of Cabot. We're 4 wide, 3 wide across the line. It's Adam Cabot by 7/1000ths of a second.
They somehow didn't wreck until on the exit of 4. Banks wrecked. A number of drivers wrecked at the back. Justin Ritchie got the boot from someone, but dominant driver of the day wins it this week. Last week, Stravato probably deserved it, led the most laps, did not get the victory. This time, Jeff Wright led 113 of 156. He's able to hold on. Win number 23 in the Saturday Night Racing League extends that all-time mark.
Or must have traction control. He can't get it to burn out.
I was about to say.
Know where he's going.
One of the few tracks he can do it.
We had an even closer finish back here for 14th position, 4/1000ths of a second. And then Chris Hodges in 14th, just barely.
They wrecked for about the 10th position. I think it was maybe around the 13th position. A lot of drivers wrecked at it too. One of them was Justin Ritchie, who got the boot. Jeff Wright's trying to angle it into victory lane. He's made the car pass Tech now, but Justin Ritchie got booted by someone, and then I think Joshua Banks wrecked with Casey Lakatis. All sorts of things happened at a turn 4 there. Oh, now he's stuck on the fence.
There you go, Jeff. Post-race interviews with your top 3, those final race results. You're watching Saturday Night Racing League, presented by M&J Distributors. Back with more on VSPEED right after this.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Start your sprinters.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs.
From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items.
Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Walking and rolling costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Back here live at Phoenix Raceway, where Jeff Wright has added his name to the list of drivers that have won so far. 3 races, 3 different winners. And it was a good one with Joseph McWhorter, Adam Cabot, Bailey Turner, 3 wide across the line. AJ Stravado in that mix as well. 7 1,000ths of a second separating Adam Cabot and Bailey Turner for the 3rd spot. Final race results up on your screen. The race recap. It started out pretty clean all the way up to when it wasn't. 6 cautions, 8 lead changes. Top 3 with McWhorter and Cabot. We'll get a word with the race winner, Jeff Wright, in just a moment. But Bailey Turner holds on. Looks like he'll be your points leader after this week. AJ Stravado with the top 5. Then you have Elliott, Butler, Caleb Weekly. How about that? Weekly up to 7th here to finish this thing out. The string of top 10s continue for the 13. Seth Hatchell going to get 8th. Angela Horonis in 9th. And the 2-tire call from Justin Ritchie gets him a top 10.
And 11th through 20th, not a name I'd expect to see on that list. Austin Belke, he started 36th, I believe, dead last, and he got all the way up to 11th, plus 25 for him. What a great recovery. He was not running up there, but is able to salvage a finish. Kenny Kibbe, he got damaged, but he had tires, got 12th. Chuck Sweeting, 13th. Chris Hodges, another good climb for him as well, gets up to 14th. Same for Tim Shinosky. A lot of drivers kind of got some good finishes out of all the chaos at the end there. Shinosky, maybe his first top 15 of the season. I have to double check that at some point. J.R. Shepard ran 16th. Matt Shinosky ends up 17th. Joshua Banks, tough luck at the end for him, ends up 18th. Ben Lafter, 19th. And Case Lacotis just scrapes away with the top 20 finish.
It's Philip Brewer, who started on the pole here this evening, falls back to 21st. Max Koss will finish 22nd. Then you have the 20 of Dean. I believe we're going to go with Dean officially. Going to finish 23rd. Brian Chambliss, 24th. Ryan Carwile, Brandon Wallace, Noah Michalski, Roderick McLavick, Michael Jones. And you have Stephen Davis, who was involved in that late caution. John Sanu also involved in a big wreck. Ray Massey clipped by Dakota Floyd, bouncing the wall. Then you have Eldon Stewart. Parada, how many times did he save that car? Ultimately caught up in something, 35th position. And James Lehman with the early exit here this evening, 36th position. But now it's time to take you trackside and talk to your victor. First driver we're going to talk to tonight is Jeff Wright in the number 48. It finally panned out. Usually when we get these late race restarts, Jeff, things fall apart for you. You could be leading the race, you got 110 laps led, and then everything falls apart. That last restart seems to get you, but not tonight. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And yeah, awesome to finally survive all that chaos. You hate to see those late race cautions, when you're leading late and you just, you could get on the wrong strategy, you could stay out, everybody pits, you could, get caught up in a wreck or, something happened. So it did get a little messy back there. It seemed like mid-pack once we got the cautions, but yeah, just stoked to finally get one of these, Bradley. I feel like I've seen this story play out before, and we haven't come out the winner, and tonight we did, so it's awesome.
No reruns tonight. And Jeff, 113 laps led at Phoenix. It's one of those racetracks where there's two different ways to drive it. There's go out there and save for as long as you can, and then hope that we get a long green flag run. And then there's go get the lead as fast as possible, get as big of a gap as you can, and then just hold on to it for as long as you want to. And I think tonight you kind of had to play both of those strategies.
Yeah, we definitely did. That's usually the way I try to start a race, just try to, get a feel for the car, try to conserve your stuff, try to be, strong in the mid to late runs. And I did think we did that, but, we were kind of in traffic a little bit there and didn't have the clean air. And so there's portions of the race where you got to push. Thankfully, we got the lead. Some of the guys had trouble on pit road, got some speeding penalties. So that actually put us into the lead. And then, once we got the clean air, it's a lot better handling race car once you got that. And once we had it, we never really looked back. We just kind of had to survive the cautions there at the end, and hopefully, or hope that nothing crazy happened. And thankfully it didn't. So, but yeah, it always makes your heart drop a little bit when you get a caution, inside 20 to go. But awesome that we could get it done tonight here at Phoenix.
Jeff, one final question for you. We talk about the competition level every single season. First time that I think I'm going to mention it here so far in race 3. So still plenty of time left to repeat it. But look at what we've got here. Eight lead changes, I think, was the number that we came out with. We had that long green flag run, a lot of pace in the top 10. You and Cabot had split off. You had McWhorter up there battling for the lead. Just a different list of names every single week up front.
Yeah, it really is. And some of those guys, that are fast every single week, they didn't, maybe get close enough to the front to really get the benefit of the clean air and really show what they had. So obviously Joseph was really, really fast out of the gate. He started, I think, a row behind me, and he was the leader, by lap like 10. So he was really on it tonight. And, he got his unfortunate speeding penalty. Adam Cabot, obviously, quick every single week. Might have helped a little bit, Bradley, that Chad Klinger wasn't in the field tonight. He had won this race last time we'd been here, and he's always very strong at Phoenix. Same thing goes for Reggie Ortega. So those are two guys that are, hometown heroes and always very quick when we come to Phoenix. So thankfully, those were two less guys we had to worry about tonight. And appreciate Andrew. He was actually, he had to sit this one out, unfortunate for unforeseen circumstances, Bradley will say.
Yeah.
But he decided to help us with the pit strategy, kind of let us know what we're going on, spotting on the box. So appreciate that with him. And then, big thank you to all of our sponsors that make this series happen. M&J Distributors, 29 Graphics, Walking Rolling Costumes, Juicy Spider Studios, Clark Print Shop, FireStorm Racing. It's awesome to have the financial support of these guys so that we can afford a great broadcast like what you and Connor put on every single week. And we go to Vegas now, so we'll see what we can do out there. It's a track I enjoy. And how about these field sizes too? We've had really big fields, every single week so far. So I expect same thing next week. And hopefully it was a good show for you guys. I know it got a little messy at the end, but overall pretty fun race.
Statistically, we kind of expect it here. So the trend continues. But Jeff, congratulations on the victory here. First one of season 6. And I believe that brings your total well over 25. I'll have to get the exact number on that, but it's been a lot here for the 48 team. We'll see you next week.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
That's Jeff Wright and the number 48 machine. He's going to bring it on home victorious in week 3. And that brings us to, we're actually still in broadcast waiting. We're waiting on Joseph McWhorter. We've been looking around for him, and I'm not seeing him anywhere. So I'm not sure what's going on with the...
There he is.
There's Joseph McWhorter. So let's bring the 73 car in here. Second place finisher here this evening. Joseph, up and down, back and forth. Everything that could go wrong was going wrong, and then suddenly it went right again, and then it went wrong. I don't know what to say other than that's been the trend for you. Does this finally put it on the right path?
No, probably not. Not in this league. I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, it just seems like I don't know, just have really bad luck anymore. 2 nights in a row where I had to go all the way from like the mid 30s and drive my way all the way back up to second. I did it last night in the full length challenge series. Had a speeding penalty, like the exact same thing happened where like I turned my head to look at pit road or to look at my pit box. I was bounced between 45 and 44 miles an hour, and it just barely flashed red, and you get a penalty. I just, man, the new scrutiny ever since the update on pit road has just been a killer, and got me again tonight. I think had I not done that, I think we had a good chance at winning it tonight. Shame that second to last yellow came out because I had Jeff set up to go into three. I mean, I gave him the bump going into one, and then I had him pretty much set up to give him another one going into three. Just try and throw something at the wall to try because I mean you can't pass here on fixed setup. So it's just I was just gonna have to move him to try and get around him. But I mean, just had that one caution, went from being third place to second place. So yeah, I mean a good day. Just sucks 2 weeks in a row where I felt like we should have won and we didn't.
Well, Joseph, I know that it's been kind of rocky there ever since the championship back. I believe it was season 2. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Maybe season 3.
Yeah, no, season 2.
Season 2. So the slump, man. Sometimes drivers have that. I don't know if that's how you felt about it, but it seems like here we're starting to see you gravitate back towards the front. I think the worst of that slump is over. A lot of those races you didn't really even get a chance to finish. So I think you're on the other half of it. I know it's tough to come from the back of the field back to first or second position, but very fast car here tonight. Appreciate you coming up and talking to us. Anybody you got to shout out?
Yeah, first and foremost, got to thank Outlier Speed Co. Amazing partner of mine. Johnny and the boys over there have been building some amazing cars. We had a really good car Friday night for that full length challenge. That's an awesome league. You guys, if you get free time, go watch that. It's really good. It's FLCC Friday Night Lights. It's really good, really fun. Go check them out. You get to see this car every week. So go check them out at outlierspeedco.com. Red Camera Racing, go check out redcameraracing.com. Fire suit, shoes, helmets, anything you need for a race weekend, they've got it. You guys for putting on the broadcast. Love VSPEED. Definitely going to be on a part-time schedule, so I don't know how much I'll get to see you guys this season, but I'm sure I'll get to bounce around in here every once in a while. Drivers for a pretty good race tonight. I think everybody did a pretty good job until the end there. I thought it was a really fun race. Admins for the hard work, and I think I'm racing next week, and then I think I'm missing Darlington.
Well, we'll see you at Vegas. Appreciate you coming up here and talking to us and try to keep that trend continuing for these top threes.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Joseph McWhorters, second place here at Phoenix. And that brings us to our final interview of the evening. It's your third place finisher, Adam Cabot. Connor Horn has caught up with him.
Adam Cabot, he didn't lead a lap tonight, and surprisingly, it's his first top 3 in a non-super speedway race since he won at Dover in, I believe, June last year. But Adam, you kind of ran second pretty much the whole race to Jeff Wright, just didn't have anything for him. How tough was it to just see the 48 getting away even after the undercut?
Yeah, he was just so fast. I mean, honestly, it's been like probably a year, besides from last week, it's been like a year since I've driven this car. I'm trying to kind of get my footing back in this car, remembering what my steering ratios are and all that stuff. But Jeff's also just like really quick here, and in this car, and pretty much any car. But yeah, I was kind of just throwing shit at the wall to see what stuck for all race. Like I was just trying every line. I mean, obviously the last green white checkered, I was just kind of just trying ridiculous things, just anything, because I knew I didn't have the raw pace on Jeff. Like he was definitely just quicker than me. The first half of the race, I was driving so hard, like as hard as I possibly could, wearing myself out. We were trading lap times back and forth. I was like stuck at like pretty much exactly 1.1 seconds back. I started reeling him in, got to like maybe a half second back. I was just having to work so hard to get there, and eventually just wore out my stuff and decided to pit early, which I knew wasn't going to be a race-winning move if the race went green, but I figured, he just started gapping me by like a couple tenths every single lap. So I just tried to stop the bleeding, pit early, and I figured I'd just save my tires hold on to the lead for a while, and I never even got the lead because I don't know, he must have just had like an insane green flag pit sequence and also just been really quick afterwards because he drove back by me before I even had a chance to get to the lead, then had an even bigger lead. So yeah, congrats to him. He drove an amazing race. Yeah, felt like I was second best, but yeah, no, that was more fun than I thought it was going to be. So I'll give it that.
More fun than you thought it was going to be. I'm sure the battle of the line was somewhat fun in your eyes, especially since you got Bailey Turner by 8/1000ths of a second. But obviously, clean air matters at a track like this, and you had it sorta after Jeff Wright kind of pulled away. But I don't think you really ever had to come through the field besides the first part of the race.
No, I can't blame clean air tonight. He was just faster than me. Clean air would help a little bit, but yeah, no, that was all just raw pace from that 48 car. So yeah, again, congrats to him. But yeah, the finish between me and Bailey, that was a lot of fun. I really thought that he got me at the line, but looking at the replay, I guess I just got him by an inch. So yeah, good stuff.
Maybe in another universe, it's the battle for the win, but not quite the case. Your first top 3 in this car at a non-super speedway in this car since, I believe, Kansas. That was September a year and a half ago in 2024. So good run for you. 14th in the points, even though you'll be part-time, I'm sure. But still good that you're that high in points after missing a race. So congrats on that. Another P3. Anyone else you want to thank or shout out?
I'm going to give a shout out to the drivers in this league because I hope that the reason it's been that long since I've had top 3 is just because I haven't raced that much, but I don't know. All I know is it seems like these guys have gotten a lot quicker. I'm seeing a lot of names towards the front that when I was racing last were usually towards the rear. So it's cool to see a league get better, not just from, I guess, bringing new talent in, but just from the drivers who are racing each and every week, developing and getting better. So that's pretty cool to see.
Cool to see, and cool to see you, P3. Adam, thanks for talking to us. I don't know when we'll see you next, but Dover is May 16th, so at least we'll see you.
I got to
then.
be here for that.
We know you'll be there for that, but maybe we'll see you
my
sooner than
schedules.
that. Yeah, make sure no one's home for that one, but see you soon. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Connor. See you.
Yep. We know we'll see him there.
Yeah, Concrete Cabot. He's going to be there, defend his title, and watching the 17 car, this get the footing back. We've seen that a lot. A lot of guys, we cycle different cars. That's the other factor here. And SNR, it's been a different car almost every season. So you go to the Gen 4 stock car. We had B-Class car to start it off. We had next gens. We've had a little bit of everything here. So looking at trying to get consistent, trying to stick with a car, I don't think that's going to happen here. It tends to shake things up and get a different name. And that's why we've had so many different champions, I think.
I think definitely that's part of the reason. And you got to be on your toes if you're going to be a member of this league. You got to be good in everything. And Jeff Wright is definitely that driver who's kind of up to the task in any car, not a champion in a next-gen car or even in this O'Reilly Series car. Maybe that changes. He gets his 3rd championship in a second in a different car for the first time. But he was obviously, like Adam said, the dominant car of the race. He ended up getting the victory even through all the late race restarts, and he vaulted up to 3rd in the points. So he's going to be a force to be reckoned with all of this season, as we're going to go pretty much to our first 1.5 miles of the season next week, a one that Jeff Wright can win at. He's been very good at, and it's our 4th different track of the season, really a 4th different track type of the season as well. We could see our 4th different winner next week.
Absolutely, and I think with March 14th coming up, you should circle it on your calendar. 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Week number 4 from Las Vegas. Time to go roll the dice. For everybody here, though, that helped put this together, Jeff Wright and the admin team over at Saturday Night Racing League. My co-commentator, Connor Horn, who's done a fantastic job for all 6 of these seasons. Adam Baker, help running the show and the things that he does in the background. Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook. We'll even shout out Logan Threlkeld. Riley Cooper saying so long from Phoenix. Next week. Till then, stay tracking, everybody.